Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? What is good? The king ooh, of lightning here today, bringing you guys and gals Kingdom. Kingdom chapter 522 through 525 review slash discussion. Mainly discussion because I just want to talk about what went down in these previous chapters of Kingdom, where you have the Kisui army being devastated by the Mako wave attack, but yet Kisui still maintaining composure, still being able to focus and try to find a way out of this whole situation, yet at the same time considering Moten of the Gakuka. Moten gets some character stuff here. Moten of the Gakuka, he considers to be a greater threat than Mako right now, because the Gakuka can come at any point in time on the Kisui side or like around Kisui's army behind them and just attack. Like right now, Moten is getting major spotlight when it comes to the battle of the Quinn left, Zhao right. Then we go over to Ohon and Ako on the Quinn right, Zhao left, and this is like, bro, Banaji just my glaive, yeah, is excellent today. Like, dude, whoa, he's cutting through people like they're butter. Like, even the big dude with the giant ball and hammer thing, he got cut in two, bro. Banaji. But Ohon, like, no falter, like, nah, I'm coming for you, though. I'm coming for you. And then we find out what's going on in the north of Zhao and how they're dealing with these nomads. And apparently these battles are like insanely fierce. It actually kind of reminds me of what went down in Chu, where in Chu they fight these southern dudes. I believe so. And remember how during the Coalition arc, Chu had these guys that were elephant riders. Well, Chu had fought these guys, like several of these very powerful tribe dudes, when it came to like the southern border of Chu. So what's going on in like the north of Zhao appears to be in a very similar light to the southern border of Chu. So it's pretty intense. But yet, oh, it don't matter, right? I'm on the Quinn King swords. I'm coming for you, Banaji. Banaji, bring it, young whippersnapper. Bring it, because you don't know. Okay, all right, so. First and foremost, chapter 522. Now, when it comes to the major things to focus in this chapter, we have Moten, we have Osin, we have Kisui, we have Mako. And when it comes to the overall story, essentially speaking, Kisui able to hunker down despite Mako's wave attack on their side. And that is the real left army of Quinn. Now, of course, that leaves the center army with just Osin's main army and the Haishin unit to deal with like the majority of the Zhao soldiers, which is crazy because the Quinn Center right now is looking fairly meek compared to the Zhao Center. The Zhao Center is looking like A-team, but at the same time you have Shin. Yeah, at the same time you have Kyokai. Ooh, yes. First and foremost, let's talk about Mako. Mako and his army, his unit, whatever we'll call them. According to him, they boast the highest offensive power among Osin's army. Now, that I'll take it at face value. But we do see Akko's army later on, and Akko's army, when it comes to frontal assaults, they're clearly superior. Like, they are the most impressive cavalry we've seen thus far when it comes to frontal assaults, though offense as a whole just can't be categorized as frontal assaults. So we'll take Mako at face value here, and among Osin's armies, his army has the greatest offensive power. Mako's army was devastated. Then on top of that, Mako himself was impressed by the efforts of Moten and the Gakuka unit, where via their own merits, via their own ability, were able to provide a very good opening for the Mako army to devastate the Kisui army. Like, Moten was impressive. So Moten, number one, there was a flashback scene of him talking to Osin and Mako, and basically Mako was asking Osin to tell Moten some strategies here, but Moten's like, no, listen, man, we got it, all right? We got it, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it via our own methods. He even knew that the Mako army were going to do a wave attack. When we shift back over to real time, as Kisui is trying to refocus the men of Raigen, which he does, he himself is thinking that the biggest threat right now to his army is not the wave attack of Mako, but that's their primary focus. But their biggest threat is the Gakuka unit of Moten, who have disappeared from the field and can now attack the Kisui army's flank, whether it's on their side or behind them. He is very concerned about Moten right now. So in chapter 522, one of the major things here when it comes to character is highlighting Moten's intellect. Apparently, Moten can see the same board. He can see the same board as Osin, at least when it comes to the left-hand battle between the Quinn left and the Zhao right. Moten getting a lot of spotlight there. And then we go on to Kisu himself for a bit, where Kisu was able to re-rally the troops because they were being overwhelmed from a moral standpoint. The wave attack of Mako made it seem like there was more men coming their way than first believed. But when he's able to maintain structure at the headquarters of the Raigan army, and in doing so, making sure that the battle wasn't completely lost on their right-hand side, the Zhao right-hand side. Though, he did kind of lie when stating that their numbers were greater than that of Qin army, because during the initial attack of the Mako army, and then on top of that, what the Gakukai unit did to the cavalries that they faced and how they destroyed them, their numbers were pretty much even. But despite that, he was able to make sure that the Zhao army on the right-hand side didn't completely cave in to the Mako assault. And then finally, it is stated by Moten, as they're like going about, they failed to kill Bati, but they're still on the hunt and they're still doing things. It is stated by Moten that Osen predicted this whole situation. Kisui still being able to sustain the Zhao army, Kisui's army sending cavalry to fight the other waves of Mako's army before they hit the main army. Apparently, Osen saw the whole thing play out. That's what Moten states. So Osen's intellect once again being propped up as like just being the best we've seen thus far in the series, like by far. So overall, chapter 522, I would say, is a good plus chapter of Kingdom, especially when it comes to the character of Moten. And we see how the battle of the Qin left-hand side is shaping up to be. And it's, right now, Kisui is in a serious pit, but they're holding on somehow, some way. Now, chapter 523 is a little more lax. That chapter, I would say, is like an overall okay plus chapter Kingdom. We start off a bit with a flashback of Moten talking to Osen. Osen, he sees the capability of Moten, and he says, if you excel at your duty, I will consider to invite you as one of my vassals. And that has Mako going like, what? But Moten says, no, wait, time out. Pause. There's someone far more deserving of that role than me, and I'm not gonna take it anyway. And apparently he was talking about Ohon, the young lord. So we shift over to the Zhao left, the Qin right, and we see what the Zhao left is rocking. The Zhao left, not only do they have Banaji, they have Gakue, one of the former vassals of Kisha, who was killed by Shin. And then we have a former vassal of one of the previous three great heavens of Zhao, Chogaryu. Now, Chogaryu doesn't do anything in these chapters, but the one who kicks it off is Gakue. And Gakue and the Akka army, they clash at the end of chapter 523. And that is what goes on from the Zhao perspective for the chapter. But on the Qin perspective side, we have a disagreement between the Akka army and the Gyokuho unit. Ohon wants to be in the front line. He wants Akko to change his entire plan, because right now, the Gyokuho unit, they are at the back line. They're in the reserves, kind of like the way the Hayashin unit is at this current point in time. But it looks like what Akko was trying to do when it comes to Ohon may have been a better move overall. Though, with Banaji coming in there later on, it's kind of like, ooh. So when it comes to Ohon and Akko's not letting Ohon into the main battle immediately. And the Akko themselves, they started off. And when Akko and Ohon do have their conversation, Akko tells Ohon that he's being conceited. I forgot what his name was, but one of Ohon's top lieutenant dudes, who actually came from Osen's army, he tells Ohon to watch Akko, because this is the most trusted of Osen's vassals as he fights off against the Gakue army of Zhao. So when it comes to chapter 523, again, overall it's okay plus chapter, like okay plus. There is some character stuff there for Moten at the beginning, where again, Osen highly regards Moten to the point where he sees him being one of his vassals. But then we shift over to Ohon, where according to Moten, Ohon is just as worthy of that position, if not even more so. And then on top of that, it is just setting up for the upcoming chapter 524 with Akko talking to Moten. And then the other guy, like Kanjo, I forgot, something of the sort, talking to Ohon about you should watch Akko because he is the most trusted vassal of Osen. So mainly chapter 523 can be seen as a setup chapter for the next chapter. Now chapter 524 is actually even simpler than the previous chapter, because the main thing here is just focusing on the Akko army. Then you have Banaji come in there, and then you have Ohon come in there. Ohon ignoring Akko's orders, he's now in the fray. Banaji was pulling some oh my god, Banaji just slamming hard. Very impressive off the gate. Before any of that, you see Akko versus Gakue, and it's like, the Akko army is devastating. So let's start with that. Akko army, they hold the best frontal assault of, I think, like any Quinn army, like just flat out any Quinn army. In a frontal assault, the Akko army do not lose. Now initially it plays out the way it plays out. However, most of the time what happens is that people try and take care of the wounded and they try and retreat with the wounded and so on and so forth. But Akko army does not do that. What makes them so devastating in the frontal assault is that they continue the merciless charge. The cavalry does not stop. That is the Akko army. The Akko army hold the greatest frontline assault because the Akko army literally do not stop to take care of their wounded. In fact, if they need to, they will trample over their wounded. That ruthlessness, according to Kanjo, whatever his name is, one of Ohon's lieutenants, is probably something Ohon will not be able to do. Which to me makes sense because it's like, that's insane, but it's effective. It's so ruthless and just like, damn, dog. But it works. Gakue's army is getting absolutely destroyed by the Akko army because they do not stop at all. They just continue the charge. In comes Banaji. Now, normally it's too early because the general of that army, Gakue, he wants to have his pride. Banaji, he don't give a damn about that. He talks about the North and how the North, no luxury for that kind of stuff. And so he slams the Akko army on the side. Hard. But not only that, but he also sends another detachment to take on the second wave of the Akko army. So Banaji and his boys completely shut down the momentum of the Akko army. And Banaji, and what was it, like the Iron Hammer of Banaji or something? Like, he's not gonna hammer. Like when he said, like, these Quinn dogs shall fear the Iron Hammer of Banaji, I'm thinking like this man is gonna come into battle with the goddamn hammer, just clubbing dudes. But no, lies. He has a glaive. Granted, glaive's awesome, okay? Like, honestly, I love glaive so much. I mean, I may actually want to buy a glaive, just straight up. Just have a glaive in the room, like on the wall, because glaives are cool. But he said the Iron Hammer. I'm like, dude, like, bring out the Iron Hammer. Just lies. Banaji lied. I wanted to see an Iron Hammer. We see no Iron Hammers. That was so disappointing. Dude, I was so disappointed. Listen, you have no idea, man. All right, you have no idea. He said the Iron Hammer, Banaji, bro. Iron Hammer. I'm like, yes, that's crazy. Bring it, dude. No Iron Hammers. All right? That was bullshit. Like, I was expecting like a 20-foot like giant Thor hammer, just Mjolnir looking like a bitch compared to this thing. No, lies. Lies. All right, moving on. So no Iron Hammer Banaji, but Banaji comes in there swinging hard, like cleaving guys in 3. Somehow, some way, in one swing, cleaving guys in 3. And then the cavalry of Banaji is piercing through the left-hand side of the Akko's army. But what happens is all of a sudden, between the Akko armies appears another cavalry, this unknown force. And it's completely parallel to the Banaji army side. And then they begin to shift in and they attack. And we see just spear shots and Ohon comes in. So completely ignoring Akko's orders. And now he's in the fray. And he is now fighting against Banaji's unit. And that is chapter 524. Right there and there. So it's even simpler than the previous chapter, but when it comes to what's going on the left Zhao side, the Quinn right side, more gains were made. So we see what's going on with the Akko army and what they're known for. We see Banaji, no Iron Hammer, come in there and just start cleaving dudes. Then we have Ohon take the field as well, even though he's not supposed to. But let me say this. Kanjo in the previous chapter did state the way you can interpret Akko's word is meaning Osen does not consider Ohon to be good enough to take the frontline fields with Akko. And to be fair, Akko is in like a breed of his own, because that guy, just mow down without stopping. I don't think Ohon could actually be with Akko in the front lines. No, there's no way. However, they need to conserve their resources as best as possible because of the main focus of this battle. The main focus of this battle is not to beat Zhao, it is to stall out Zhao so they can get Gyu. So if Ohon loses, like, let's say, a huge percentage of the Yokuho unit to, let's say, Banaji or whomever, that's gonna be a problem. However, Banaji kind of fucks that up. But Ohon, it may have been best for him to stay in the back lines in the long run. However, after Banaji was going, Banaji may have just mowed down the whole main Akko unit side. Who knows? Not too sure. So it depends on how things would have turned out if Ohon didn't show up. It also depends on the performance of the Gyokuho unit as well. If the Gyokuho unit perform very well and don't lose that many dudes, okay, fine, fair enough. But he's still gonna get an earful from Akko, obviously. Though, right now, when it comes to Banji versus Ohon, like, he did take on Earl Shi from the Wayfire Dragons, and that guy was just crazy. Like, his spear moves were ridiculous. Like, you couldn't even see his spears. It was this guy was so fast you couldn't even see his shit. But Banji is pure power. Like, he screw technique, all right? You can do all the fancy flower spear stuff. No. Banji's coming in, glaive. Yeah. So let's see how well Ohon fares against a pure power dude. With that being said, chapter 524, I'm gonna say is an overall okay plus to good chapter. When it comes to chapter 525, this is where we get the stuff for the story involving Banji, and also that one guy as well, I forgot his name, the one guy who's right now leading the army against Yotanwa, I forgot his name though. So we get intel on what's going on in the north-hand side of Zhao. And on top of that, we see how the battle is progressing on the right-hand side even more so. To where now Akko and Ohon find themselves doing a pincer move, while Kanjo of the Gyokuho unit, he is going to stay back and take care of the guys that they cut off from Banji. So essentially speaking, Banji is now isolated between Akko and Ohon. So even though Akko told Ohon stay in the back lines and Ohon didn't do so, they are going to take advantage of this, and now they're going to try and pincer Banji and take him out. That being said, Banji, the furthest thing from a bitch you can imagine, bro. Apparently he's seen worse in the north. A pincer opportunity has now arisen when it comes to taking out Banji. Akko from one side to the right, behind Banji to the left, you have Ohon, and Banji's now caught in the middle between these two. Now, Akko's not arrived there just yet, but Ohon has. Ohon is now gonna square off with Banji. And Ohon's strategy was clearly good, because even Kanjo had to admit, you know what, the young master's eye for strategy continues to improve over the course of time. So we're getting some character for Ohon in that respect. We're getting a huge shift in what's happening on the Quinn right, Zhao left side, because now Banji's in a corner. And then here we have the Gyokuho unit. They're now going over to Banji's side. One big guy with the hammer, Kyuko. He is with Ohon and company, but he feels something amiss. And as he feels that, in comes the quote-unquote Iron Hammer of Banji. And this dude got devastated, bro. This guy has like a steel ball thing. He tried to block with it, the pole side at least. Banji just cut right through it, man. This guy got cleaved in two. Ohon lost a very valuable, because this guy did seem like he was pretty damn good. Like, the way I see it, it's kind of like, it's kind of like Shin losing Denyu. Oh, please, like, please, listen, look, my heart couldn't take Denyu dying, man. My heart just couldn't take it, dude. It'd be, oh, no. Huge fan of Denyu. If Denyu were to go out like that, oh, my heart couldn't take it. Nah. So this guy gets taken out quick. And then, yeah, Banji talk about the Quinn King and the north of Zhao. Now, apparently, in the north of Zhao is a place called Ganmon. The Zhao plain areas have sent these well-known generals up to the north, but they want them getting killed off, like, fairly quickly. And apparently what's going on in the north-hand side of China, where Zhao is, and I can assume it applies to, let's say, Yan as well. Apparently, they have to deal with these nomads. And these nomads are just ferocious motherfuckers, man. Apparently, the battles there are even worse than what goes on in the plains area. This reminds you a lot of what happens in the mountain areas, where the mountain areas to the Quinn West, we have Yotanwa and her people having these crazy wars, like in the mountain, that folks never hear about in the plains. But these wars are just brutal and savage. You have Chu, and Chu have to deal with their own unique enemies to the south. So keep in mind this. When Quinn does get to the point where they start conquering states, they may have to deal with the issues of those states when it comes to other enemy forces, i.e. the southern enemies of Chu and the northern enemies of Zhao. These nomads, the Shong something, whatever is going on there, so fierce to where these esteemed generals from the plains, they go up there and they get decimated. And Banji, he was born up there. He's been fighting up there for his entire life. And things like name recognition don't mean jack up there. Those battles up there are just brutal, savage, ruthless battles where only the strongest can survive. Truly, that area of Ganmon has become a land of death that even surpasses that of the Chinese plains. Now, who would have figured? Banji then explains the only reason why he's even down here is because the Queen King is too arrogant. Is because he is a beast. He appears to be a man, but he's actually a monster. Where the Queen King's ambitions are too great, to where he wants to eradicate all of the states and unify China as one. And a monster like that needs to be put down. Now, in comes Ohon, not backing down at all. Like, immediately attacked Banaji. Banaji, though, yeah. But he immediately attacks Banaji and then states, you need to look up some history before you start spouting off like that. There's been like 100 some odd minor states before we had these major states. So these states were wiped out and conquered. And since these smaller 100 states of China have now assimilated and become bigger states, it only makes sense that they continue that trend to unify China as a whole. And all the Qin King is doing is going along that natural trend to unify the entirety of China. As the sword of the Qin King, he will strike down Banaji. So that is chapter 525. When it comes to what's going on with Banaji, that situation has clearly evolved because now he's in a pincer himself. So that's changed that whole battlefield, potentially. Then we have details of what's going on in the north and why Riboku has brought in Banaji and the other guy as his vassals. Because these guys survived and were successful in a much deadlier battlefield than what we normally see in the plains areas. Then we have him explain why he even came down to the plains area in the first place, which is probably the same reason why the other guy came down, because they feel like the Qin King's ambitions are too great to try and unify all of China, because that will lead to untold bloodshed in the plains areas. However, Ohon not backing down in the slightest. Props to Ohon. So, that being said, this chapter, I would say, is a good plus chapter as well. So the best chapters among these 4 chapters is chapter 222 and 225. 224 and 223 are overall okay chapters. Like, they're not that big. But those 2 chapters are clearly the meat chapters among these 4 chapters. So that being said, I am done. Give me your thoughts on the matter at hand. I'm going to see you guys and gals later. Be sure to rate the video. It is not that hard to do when you have a device called ZMouse. You use ZMouse to click, rate the video, to click, subscribe, to click on that bell to join the squad, and of course, comment in the comment section down below. Peace, and have a nice goddamn day.